Hey, come here. Sit. 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 Come here. Sit. All right. So I just got done walking one of the dogs, this one right here, Mac. And I wanted to make a video on responsibility and commitment. These dogs have really been testing our commitment recently. So we've got kids now, both my wife and I, Cassandra. Our oldest, she'll be 4 at the end of this year, and the youngest is a 2-year-old. So we're young parents, and these dogs have been poorly neglected in the last 3 to 4 years. You know, because our responsibility has shifted to our kids. And before that, so I think Derby is back there. I don't know if you can see him. He's a cockapoo. We got him when Cassandra was in dental school. His name's Derby because she did dental school in Louisville and the Kentucky Derby. So it was a way for us to remember that city by. And when we got Derby, he was the entire world, right? I mean, he was the best dog ever. I mean, Derby was extremely spoiled. Later, we moved down to Florida. We got engaged, we got married, all these things. And Derby needed a friend, right? So we got Mac. And Mac's named after Mackinac Island. We got engaged in Mackinac Island. It was kind of another one of those, let's name the dogs after a place that we're fond of. You know, before we had kids, we'd walk the dogs every day. The dogs got tons of attention. We did live in a small place, but we did find a backyard for them. And I put a doggy door into the backyard. We didn't technically have a door in the duplex we lived in before, and so I had a doggy door in the window, from our bedroom. I put a dresser, and I had a doggy door. It was pretty funny. I built a bench on the other side so they can go in and out. They had a yard, but we still walked them every single night, sometimes multiple times a day. And then we moved to this house, and this house had a backyard. I installed another doggy door, but we still walked them every night. And then we had kids, and we stopped walking these dogs. And they've just become more and more unruly, right? And it's not their fault, they don't know any better. To them, we are their whole world. And that's something I try to remember when they're acting up, which recently has been very, very frequently. And Cassandra's joke has always been, I'm going to list them on Craigslist, because when we were first looking for dogs, I was always looking on Craigslist for dogs. But recently, just a couple weeks ago, they almost got listed on Craigslist. And so, hence why why I'm getting back late after walking the dogs. So I'm trying to get back into the habit of taking the dogs for a walk. Now the problem is that the dogs have not been socialized, have not been walked very frequently in these last couple of years, and so they're out of practice, so they don't really walk well together. Mac in particular walks like a model dog by himself, but he's a total psychopath when he's walking with Derby. So I've got to walk the two separately. The incident that almost put these dogs on Craigslist was just the other day. It was a couple weeks. It might have been a week or two before Labor Day weekend. So on my drive home from work, I pick up the girls. And as I was pulling into the driveway, Cassandra comes running out of the house, frantic. I get out of the car and I'm like, "What's up?" She said, "The kids are not allowed in the house." And I said, "Oh, okay." And she said, "I'm getting rid of the dogs. I don't care what you say. I'm getting rid of the dogs." And I was like, "What'd they do? They just crap everywhere? What are you talking about?" She goes, I can't deal with them. You go in and see for yourself." So I walk into the front door and I'm just hit with this horrible stench. And immediately I just look into the living room, and to my horror, these dogs didn't crap everywhere. They didn't make a mess in the traditional sense of them making a mess. What they had done is they had, well, we had we had a rabbit that was living in the front yard. And it was kind of cute because every time we'd go for a walk, we'd say hi to Peter Rabbit, and the girls would say hi to Peter Rabbit. And anyways, the dogs, somehow Peter Rabbit got in the backyard, and the dogs murdered the rabbit and drug him through the doggy door, up the stairs, into the living room, and gutted him on our couch, on our living room couch. And the smell was so bad. I don't know if it was the stomach or what. I mean, literally there was just it was a full grown rabbit that was like skinned from like the waist down and just gutted. And it was disgusting. There's blood everywhere. It was bad. And it smelled horrible. And I don't know how long it had been, but it must have, every room in the house just reeked of death. And there was fur everywhere. It was, the dog stunk. It was a nightmare. I couldn't stay in the house. I was gagging so bad. So anyways, we dealt with that mess, and the dogs were in the doghouse, and I had to kind of fight to keep the dogs. And so here's my reasoning. Most people would, and this isn't the first, they've never killed a rabbit and gutted it on our couch. Or they ruined our couch. We had to get rid of the couch. Fortunately, they did it a week or two before Labor Day weekend, which just so happens to be the best time of the year to buy a couch. So, silver lining, we've got a brand new couch. It's immaculate. We got like 50% off. Way better than the old couch. It's great. So hopefully the dogs don't kill any more rabbits on the couch. Okay, so the real reason that I fight for these dogs so often, even when they do something as horrible as kill a rabbit and gut it in your living room and destroy your couch, is because I feel a responsibility for these dogs, because we committed to taking them into our family, raising them, and that's both a responsibility and a commitment. And so one of the reasons that I fight so hard is I don't like to break commitments. And if I'm not able to bear the burden of the responsibilities that I've taken on, then what does that say? What does it say about me? And so that's why I've agreed to, start walking the dogs and doing all these things. But if you break a commitment like that, even if it's like owning a dog and you've got to get rid of the dogs, that's a pretty big commitment that you're breaking. And if you're willing to break one commitment, I don't know if this is true, but this is a fear of mine, is that you're willing to, not that you're willing to, but in the future, you'll be more susceptible. There will be less resistance to breaking additional commitments that you've taken on. And now that we have kids, I feel a deep responsibility to maintain the commitments that I've agreed to. I feel like that's my responsibility. And so that's kind of why I get really upset when the dogs make a mess, and the joke that is more and more becoming less and less of a joke and more of a serious action to get rid of the dogs and list them on Craigslist, is because I have a fear of breaking commitments and not being able to uphold the responsibilities that I've taken on in life. And so here I am late at night talking about this, because it's what I thought about when I went on the walk with the dog, right? So silver linings, getting my steps in, getting time with the dogs, getting time with my thoughts. And, a really good outcome is that we got a new couch. New couch is great. So that's all I've got to talk about. That's what was on my mind.